before we start the programming part. All right. Okay, color. D.1, a few more concepts. The first one I like to talk about, view of a database. View. So here, what's the meaning of this view? Yeah, so we know there are different meanings. Yeah, view. In my lectures, I always talk about, look at some specific problem in different views, right? Yeah. But here, the view is a special database terminology. It's an object, view object. Yeah. You know table, right? You know table object. Yeah. View is another concept similar to table object. Yeah. So let's look at this concept. Yeah. It's different from our general understanding. We have some special meaning for this concept in database. This view concept. All right. Why we need it? Yeah. So first, later you will see similar to the table structure, but there is some important difference. Yeah. Why we need it? Yeah. All right. Different users may require different perspectives on the same bit of data. Yeah. Silent. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, block it. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Just remind me. All right. All right. So it's silent there. All right. All right. So here, same set of data. Okay. So we consider same set of data, but that data can be presented in many different ways. Think about that. Suppose we have large table. Different users, they are interested in different parts of the data. Yeah. We do not need to look at the whole table. Okay. Yeah. We only want to view part of it. Yeah. Different users want to view different parts. And especially sometimes some users may like to combine several tables, not just one table, several tables, and combine in different ways. That's quite common in real-world applications. The question is, we don't want to use too much redundant data. We don't want to store too much redundant data. For different users, they're interested in different views, so we store the data for that group of users. Not necessary. We want to use the minimum amount of storage to store the data that can provide all kinds of views for our users. That's the goal. Okay? Yeah. That's the goal. But how can we do that? That's next question. Here, we only need to know we need this kind of feature. We need this type of feature. Same amount of data, okay, or same physical storage. Let's say this way. The data we know, we use physical storage to store that set of data. Okay? We do not use extra more storage for that set of data, but we can generate all different kinds of views from that set of data. But we do not waste too much storage space for all different business requirements. Yeah. All right. So an efficient way handling data. Okay. Efficient way. Yeah. Say efficient here, the efficiency, one is the storage space, right? Storage. The second, another efficiency, we can get that set of data quickly. How about that? That set of data quickly. Okay, retrieve that specific view of data quickly. How about that? Okay, yeah, all right. So let's discuss this new concept, this view concept. It's called a virtual data versus physical data. It's not physical data. You won't see the data displayed in that particular view stored physically in the database. You won't see that. Okay, no physical storage for that part, virtual data. But virtual, so when you need that view, that special way to display the data, you can get that quickly. Virtual data. Okay, how about that? Okay, yeah, so let's look at some more properties. No physical storage for the data. The first property, it can save a lot of space, especially for large number of users with all different kinds of requirements. Okay, yeah, so the first property. Second, they're derived data, okay? Derived from physical data. The data you see in a special view, virtual table. Yeah, sometimes people call it virtual table, all right? Yeah, not physical table, virtual table, all right? Another name. So the data you see in a virtual table not really stored physically on the hard disk. Okay, yeah, so derived from physical data. Okay, yeah, so the data derived rely on physical data. Okay, yeah. Think about when you modify any part in the physical data, your view will be reflected immediately because your view data rely on those, underlying physical data, yeah, derived data. So when you change the physical data, your view data will be changed immediately. All right? Yeah, derived data. Okay. Save storage space. So that's the immediate benefit, save storage space. All right. Could be stored physically if needed. You have that option. Okay. Although in general, we do not need to store virtual data, right? Yeah, we want to save space, but think about if some special views are extremely important, right? So you really want to keep that, that small number of special views, okay? Yeah, and you really like to store physically so that later you can manipulate the data in physical tables. So you have that option, okay? You have that option, okay? And make it, physical storage. Then you can see that, the physical storage, yeah, right? Okay, all right, yeah. So this is this view concept, yeah. To work on views very close to the table way. It's a virtual table. So the way the commands you work very similar to the table way. Yeah. All right. Yeah, okay. So that's the view, so we will see some view examples. Yeah. Yeah. The format. Yeah. How do you do the queries on tables? Yeah. You use the same way on views. Okay. Yeah. All right. Then size of a database. Yeah. So in general, yeah, there is no limit. Yeah. A database can be of any size and complexity. Yeah. So no limit on that. But you know, there is a real life resource limit, right? That's another issue, but not the database limit. Okay, yeah, not database limit. Yeah, resource limit, that's different from the database limit. Okay, all right. But for DBMS may have a restriction. So the database in the design, in the abstract sense, no limit. But for DBMS, we know DBMS are created by different vendors. Yeah. Those vendors, they have the freedom to, you know, put a limit in their products. Okay, yeah. So from that sense, we have different answers. For the MySQL Oracle, because these two are very powerful DBMS, no limit. Okay, no limit. These two DBMS support any size for the databases. Only if, but you need to notice the resource limit, okay? Because your hard disk, your hard drive, you have limit, right? So you know, although you can expand hardware storage, you can expand, yeah. But it's not from the DBMS side, no such limit. Yeah. But for another product, Microsoft Access, there is a limit because that is for small business, not supposed to be used for large business. Okay, yeah. So the limit is 2 gigabytes. The database size, yeah. It's already pretty big, right? You think about only the data part, okay? Business data, small business data, 2 gigabytes, right? Yeah. Because if your business needs to use larger data than this size, you should not use Microsoft Access. Right? You have more powerful DBMS you can use. Yeah. All right. So that you should not treat it as a limit, real limit. Okay. Yeah. Understanding query, because in this class we use this term all the time. Query. Yeah. Query here, query there. Yeah. But there are two different meanings based on the context. Yeah. So here, just let you know, be aware of it. Yeah. Under different contexts, the explanation could be different. Yeah. The first one is the narrow sense. Okay. Yeah. That's the data retrieval. Okay. Data manipulation, we have many different ways to do data manipulations. But here, sometimes people refer, so the query in the narrow sense, just retrieve the data. That's the query, yeah, but the narrow sense, all right? Yeah. Broader sense, yeah, including, you know, any database access, including modifying, update, modify, delete, you know, we can all call queries, okay? So that's the, you know, also legal, yeah, also the legal way to use query. Okay? Any database operation, any database access, we can call a query. Yeah. So both ways are correct. Yeah. Just you need to look at the context. So which way you are talking about. All right. All right. So that's the before the programming part, I want to talk about these concepts. Yeah. Next, I want to move to the programming. I will post that example. That example I call case study. Our case study number 1. So the code database, it includes a database. And I also include a tutorial, a document, because I need to explain the code line by line. So I write in the tutorial. Okay. So HTML file tutorial. Yeah. So after you open the zip file, so everything inside, everything we need inside. So database tutorial all inside that folder. Okay. All right. Yeah. So our D.2 working with SQL commands. Before I run that example, let me just work on some simple SQL commands. Yeah. So we start some hands-on work first. So then I run this project. Then I explain the code. Yeah. Okay. So then after you download, you can play around, get your database work set up, ready, and then you run it. After that, you study the code, use my tutorial. Okay. Use my case study tutorial. You study the code. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So that's the D.2. Yeah. D.3 PHP programming. I just go through several parts of the code. Okay. Yeah. Here first, let me do the hands-on part first. Yeah. I haven't uploaded the example. Yeah. So here you just watch my actions here. Yeah. All right. So the database. Yeah. I'll give you another database. Also that one also part of our textbook. In our textbook, we have 2 databases we use to, run all the SQL commands and the concepts. This one is the first one, university. It's called a university database. Yeah. In our first 2 chapters, you can see, university database, the several tables. And the second database is called company database. Yeah. All right. So let me give you the first database, university database first. Yeah. All right. So let me switch to our PHP admin. So to run SQL commands there. First, just let you know, I already start Apache server and MySQL server. Okay, so ready to, don't forget this step. Before you run this example, you need to run these 2 servers. You know how to get there. All right, yeah, very easy. Yeah. In my tutorial, in my exam tutorial, you will see, we can get to this page easily. From the left column, you can see I have many databases installed on my side, but I like to show you some basic command. Yeah. First, I click the database spaces tab, because the first thing I like to do to create and populate that university database. Yeah. I give you the SQL script file, university db.sql. Yeah. So I give you that. But here I do not have that file. Yeah. So, all right. So I open the file here. Yeah. This is the university.sql, universitydb.sql. Yeah. So you can see, yeah, there are many tables and the data inside. All right. I need to copy paste all the commands, SQL commands here to get this database populated. Yeah. But before I do that, I need to do one thing first. Create the database. I haven't created. Okay? I haven't created. All right. Yeah. So how to create? Let's type the database name. University DB, lowercase, I call that. Because in my PHP code, I use this name. All right. If you change the database name, don't forget in the PHP code, when you do the database connection, you need to change your database name at that place also. All right. Otherwise, you cannot get the database connected. Yeah. So here I just use the same name called University DB. All right. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Yeah. Hope my spelling correct. So University DB. All right. Then you click create. Then it is created. All right. Yeah. See that item, University DB item. All right. Okay. Yeah. The next step, we want to run the SQL commands in that database script file to get this database populated. Okay. But before we do that, you need to do one thing. Select a database. You need to make, yeah. So look at this whole list of, we have a long list of database at my side. At your side, probably the short list. You do not have many databases at your side. At my side, I have large number of databases. Which one you want to use to run the SQL commands, right? So that step you cannot skip. That means you need to select the database. So here to select, we just click this link, University DB. You click it. All right. When you click it, look at the top bar, this top, yeah, database : University DB. That means the current database is the University DB. That's the current database. Okay. After you make this one as the current database, then all the SQL commands you run against this current database, not a different database. So that's important. Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, which database you want to run certain SQL commands? All right. Yeah. So here, this step. All right. Here, when I click SQL tab, I have this blank small SQL window. I can enter all different SQL commands. Yeah. So here, I just play around a few SQL commands. All right. Yeah. First, yeah, let me type one SQL command. Yeah. Look at, because here we are using MySQL data, DBMS. Yeah. So we should use the MySQL commands. In MySQL command line, here, the commands we can imagine, and the command line, we also type the same commands. Yeah. Here we can treat, so it could be a command line environment. Here I type this command, use, all right, use keyword. Yeah. In MySQL, this use is a keyword. It's a command. Okay. Use what? Use, I want to use a different database. Look at that. I can use a different database. All right. So, all right. So I have a database called AnimalDB. Yeah. From this side, yeah, the first one, I have one I call AnimalDB. That's the database name. So let me type that database name, AnimalDB. AnimalDB. Okay. Yeah. No. Semicolon or not important. Here only one command, right? If you have multiple commands, then you need to use semicolon to separate multiple SQL commands. But here we only have one command. Okay, so semicolon is not important. Click Go button. Look at that. What happens? after click the Go button, look at the top bar, database : animal DB. Switching. That means after you type this command, use a database name, then MySQL will make that database as the current database. So after this command, our current database won't be University DB, it becomes this Animal DB. All right, yeah, so just like I clicked the database link. Yeah, all right. Here I just show you, this use command. All right, yeah, let me go back. Yeah, because I need to run a database scripts for University DB, not for Animal DB. Okay, yeah. So I need to go back. Although I can click the link, yeah, but here I show you the command line way. People want to switch to a different database. They need to type use database name. Okay, yeah, University DB. Okay. Click go. Okay. Now you can see we switch to University DB. Question. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the font too small. Yeah, let me, yeah. All right, so Google, Chrome, Zoom, yeah, let me see. Oh, good, all right, yeah, this command, yeah. Control plus, all right. Is it big enough? That's good. Yeah, that's good. All right, yeah, okay. All right, so later we will use bigger font like this. All right. Yeah. All right. Now, our next step, run all these commands, copy paste. Okay, yeah. Another way, import. Look at the import tab. We have an import tab, right? Yeah. I can click this import tab to upload and run. We can get the same thing. Import. All right. Yeah. But here I just copy paste. All right. Copy. All right. Paste. All right. And click go. Go. Yeah. No error. If you see error, then you need to, fix it. Yeah. But here, no error. That means everything is good. Yeah. So here you can see structure, tab, yeah, structure, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 5 tables. So in this university, you have 5 tables. Yeah. And if you want to view the data inside, you click browse. Yeah, browse. You can see the, data in that table. Yeah, browse. All right. Yeah. So yeah, when you want to go back structure, so you go back to this view, and you can modify many commands. Yeah, very easy to use. Yeah. All right. So year table. Look at this year table. Yeah, let me click it. Yeah. All right. Year table structure. Oh, yeah, browse. Oh. Browse. Section. Yeah, here it's still section. Yeah, structure. I go back. Year table. Yeah. Oh, why I cannot go there? Oh. Yeah, select. Then I click browse. How about that? Yeah. Oh, let me. Yeah, I remember before I can jump to that easily. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, still section. Yeah, let me just click this link. Yeah, I get this view. All right. Okay. Yeah, all right. That year is a field. Yeah, that year is a field name, not a table name. Yeah. The reason I pay attention to that year, because year in MySQL, it is a keyword. there is a keyword called year, all right? Month, year, day. Yeah, we need to use, try to do the query, based on years, months, yeah, it's a keyword. Yeah. But here we use that keyword as a field name. Yeah. But we use that special symbols to tell MySQL, to tell the DBMS. Yeah. So let's look at the year keyword. In section here, look at this year. Look at the symbols around year. Backstroke accent, right? Last time I mentioned that. Backstroke accent, not single quote. No single quote. Yeah. On your keyboard, top right corner, that backstroke accent symbol, when you use that special symbol, you can escape the keyword. You can use the keyword, but you tell DBMS, do not interpret as keyword, all right? We want to use the literal meaning. Do not use the keyword meaning, okay? Literal meaning, yeah. All right, so that's another one. All right, so now it's ready. So let me run this project because I need to explain the code after I run the project. All right, the font is still pretty small. Yeah, here, I just run it. When I explain the code, I go back to PowerPoint slides. New project, okay. PHP project, PHP application, next. All right, so my project name, let me call it university view, all right. Because my first case study, we only view the data. So we do not do anything else. We just view the data, okay? Yeah, so we call it university view. Everything else, yeah, looks all right, yeah. We do not need to change. Yeah, so look at the URL. So everything here, we do not need to change. Yeah, okay, yeah. So let us click the finish button. Okay. Yeah, so we get a blank. All right. Yeah. Then the source code. Yeah, let me show you the source code. Yeah. So, all right. All right. University view. All right. Yeah. Images. Oh yeah. Images is for my tutorial. Okay, tutorial. But for let me. Yeah. I only have one file for the PHP code. I only have this uniview.php. Yeah. Uniview.php. Okay. Yeah, let me just copy to source file. All right. All right. Yeah. Uniview.php. Okay. Yeah. That's all we need. And we want to run this file, run directly this file, because it is not the welcome file. It's file name, it's not a default. Default is index.php, index.php. Here, it's a non-default file. So to run this file, we need to run this directly. All right. Right click, run. Okay, right click, run. Yeah, so you see the result immediately. See, pretty fast. Yeah. So my Chrome browser opened up immediately. Yeah, in this one you can see we have 5 tables. I put 5 tables, each one table name as the hyperlink. Okay, yeah. So when you click it, you see, oh, object not found. What? Uniview.php. Remember, Uniview, that is the file name of this one, but in my hyperlink, I don't know, for some reason, because sometimes I change the file name. I changed to view1. Yes, yeah, because if I already have one, I need to run a second copy. So I change view1, that caused my problem, right? Okay, so let me see if I have other places I use view1. Yeah, that's an easy fix. Okay, all right, so let me start over again. This time, the problem should be fixed. Yeah. So let's go back, yeah, to this one. Let's refresh it. Yeah, refresh it so the code should be updated. All right, then this time cost. Okay, yeah, we can see the cost table content, section table content, grade report table content, and prerequisite content. The first table, the default one, content. Yeah. So that's the simple example. So our first case study example, this one. Okay, so we get started. Yeah. Programming part. Yeah. All right. Next, I need to move back to PowerPoint slides to explain several places in this code. Yeah. All right, so I have less than 20 minutes. So let me just explain 4 or 5 places, yeah, in this example. All right. Okay. All right, so deep on 3. Yeah, let me start this deep on 3. Okay, all right. PHP programming. All right, so we can learn pretty fast. Yeah. First, before I explain the code, yeah, I just want to look at one table in this database, university database, one table, yeah, one example, the section table. In this section table, other than this year, yeah, that's the keyword. Other than that, we have the data part, insertion statement, insert into section, yeah, and then the data. Here, I'd like to talk one thing, the way we do the data insertion. Here, look at multiple lines. Yeah, we need to insert many lines, okay? Many lines in one command. Yeah, why one command? Look at the semicolon. Semicolon is used for one SQL statement. One SQL statement. Yeah. Here, for this insert SQL command, we are allowed to insert multiple lines of data. Multiple lines of data. Okay, yeah. So like this. Yeah. Yeah. And in this way, multiple line insertion, this way is more efficient. More efficient than line by line insertion. Think about it. We can do line by line insertion, right? The first record, we can write one insert statement. Second row of the table, we can run second insert into that another statement, and so on. Okay, so that way, line by line way, not as efficient as this one. This way, we know it's called a batch insertion. Batch insertion. Yeah. The reason it is more efficient because a lot of setup time can be saved. Yeah. When you run each command, you need to set up, right? You need to do preparation. There is an overhead part. Yeah, we call it overhead. We need to do some preparation work in order to complete that particular command. But if you do the batch insertion, you only need to set up once. Okay, overhead part, you only need to pay the cost of overhead part once. Then you can use that setup on all these rows. Streamlined way, very efficient. Execution time will be faster. Batch insertion. All right. So then, so in the real world situation, if we have chance, when we need to do large number of insertions, we want to make batch way insertion. Okay. In our programs, we also like to do batch insertion, more efficient. Okay, yeah. But batch, there is a limit for the batch. Your batch cannot be too big, right? Each batch, there is a limit, certain number of, okay, 1,000, based on my experience, But because if I have more rows, more rows, more rows, then you have to break it somewhere. You have to break in, each batch, there is a limit, certain number of rows you are allowed to put in one batch. Then you have to start second insert statement, another batch, and so on. Okay. All right. So that is one thing I like to explain here. All right. Second, then the code part, this university code part. The first line I have a tutorial. In my tutorial, I have all the detailed explanation, including what I'm talking about here. But here, I just, explain some key points. So then, when you read the tutorials, it will be easier for you. First, the variable representation, that $sign. It's a typical PHP way. Dollar, then a variable name. So that's the way we use the variable. Pretty simple, straightforward. In this one, I use this I mean menu name. Menu, top bar, that's my menu bar, right? Menu bar, not name, menu number. Menu selection, the item, the first one, I use the menu number 0, the first table. Second table, I use menu number 1, 2, 3, and so on. So this variable stores that corresponding table number. Okay, all right. How do we retrieve it? So here, how do we retrieve it? Okay. So look at different pieces. All right. The first piece, int value, integer value. All right. Because the original value, it is a string value. String value. Okay. So in all the data, so as I explained in Java, all the data we retrieve from HTML environment, all string data. Okay. By default, all string data. But if you need to convert it to integer, PHP, there is a fast function, int val, this fast function. So we do the conversion. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing, input underscore get. Input underscore. When we retrieve the data, we want to retrieve HTTP get request parameters. We are only interested in the get parameters, not post parameters. Right? Post parameters, we will use underscore post. Here, get. We use the HTTP get method to send the data. Right? Yeah, that data. All right. Data, how do we send data? Look at this parameter. Double quotes MM. This is our parameter name. We call our parameter name. Parameter, you need to have name and a value, right? Each parameter, you need to have a name, and you also need to have a value for it, name value pair for each parameter. Yeah. So here, our parameter name is called MN. Its value corresponds to the integer number in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 tables. We only have 5 tables. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the parameter values, yeah, like that. All right. After that, filter input. This one, filter. You see that filter. Okay. PHP filtering. Okay. Yeah, because the input, there is a security issue. So here, there is a security problem. Yeah. Because people can embed some SQL attack. Yeah. Probably some of you may heard of that. SQL attack. People, if you have an input field, some hacker, they can enter some SQL commands there. All right, so then if at your programmer side, if you do not do some special protection way, then the hacker could hack your database using the SQL command. Yeah. So here, PHP use this function, filter underscore input, to filter out those embedded commands, you know, for some protection, right? Yeah. So you can stop that kind of embedded SQL attack. Yeah. All right. So after these pieces, yeah, so you can understand that this one line, yeah, so many things you need to understand. Yeah. All right. So we get a value. Yeah. After that, so we have MN value. Yeah. Next, database connection. Yeah. We need to connect to the database, our university DB. So you can see we need to provide appropriate parameters for our database connection. The host, yeah, the host where you run your database server, yeah, the host name, local host. Yeah. For MySQL, the default username password. Yeah, you do not need to specify the default. Yeah, default root username root password nothing. Double quotes empty string. Yeah, so that is the default MySQL root account, root top level account. Okay? The root, you have the root privilege, root top level account. You have that. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. All right. So then database name, after that connection object. So we call this function MySQL I underscore connect. We use the version MySQL, there is an I version. Okay, yeah. So relatively newer version. Older version, MySQL without I, that's the older version. Yeah. Deprecated. Yeah. So we should switch to the I version. Yeah, relatively new version. Yeah. So then, after these lines, we get this command, yeah, this variable, $CONN, this variable, it stores database connection object. Later, when we do the query, we need to use this object. It is ready, so we can do the query using this connection object. All right. So that is the second one. The third one, we store data in a table. Yeah. So we're familiar, yeah, this data structure, but here I store the 5 table names in this TBL-ARR array. Yeah. So you can see the first, I create an array object. After that, I create array elements. Yeah. Here, I do not specify indexes. Yeah. Based on the order from the index 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 in order. Yeah. All right. So then, when we need to, how do we retrieve a table name? All right. So here you can see, if you have the $MN, the corresponding table number, then you can retrieve the table name from this array. So easy, yeah. So you pass that index. Yeah, the next one. The index from 0 through 4, yeah, the corresponding table name will be ready for you to do the query. Our next step, we need to do the query. Yeah. Okay. So the query operation. Now the query operation. First, we define our query statement. Show columns, the SQL command from table name. Yeah. Look at this line. Our SQL statement. We want to retrieve all the column names in one array. Okay. So we use this statement, SQL statement. Yeah. Capital, yeah, we know the SQL commands, the keywords, we use capital, that's by the convention for readability. All right. If you use lowercase, still legal, right? Yeah, lowercase, but not by convention. Yeah. So for the programmers in this community, so they follow this convention for better readability. All right, yeah, here, table name, yeah. So then the query, result 1, MySQL I underscore query, the database connection object. Every time when you need to do the query, you need to pass that database connection object as the first parameter, okay, to the query function. All right. Then the second parameter, your query statement. A string value, string query statement. Yeah. Then the result goes to this variable, result 1, it's an object. Your result is an object. Right, object. Yeah. Then what is the object? Yeah. Yeah. Object. So PHP has its way to store an object in an array. Yeah. Although we call object, yeah, but the internal structure, it's an array structure. Yeah. So you can imagine we have an array in this result 1. All right. Then we need to retrieve data from this result object. So in the while loop, record equal, yeah. So here, MySQL I underscore fetch underscore, yeah. So here we fetch data from this object. Dollar result 1, yeah, yeah. Just, you know, could be 2D array, yeah, yeah. Array, yeah. When I say array, you know, including any dimension array, yeah, yeah. Because in order to store an object, it could be very complicated, yeah. All right. So from that array, yeah, we store value into another array called a fields array. fields array, dollar. Yeah. So you have a pair of bracket, pair of empty bracket. Yeah. So we want to store the value into that array. Yeah. All right. Record. Yeah. So this record. Yeah. Because this command, this SQL command, after the execution, the result goes to dollar record array, another array. Okay, another array, but here you have many elements, right? Array you have many elements. Okay, yeah, but here single quote around zero, single quote around zero. We only want to retrieve the element under that index. Associative array. In Unix, you learn associative array, right? Yeah, associative array. Okay, so what's that associative array? The array indexes, you can use string as array indexes, right? PHP supports associative array. Yeah, so you can use string as the array indexes. Yeah. Here you can see, you know, quotes, single quotes, yeah. String, character, string, yeah. So associative array. Yeah. Although it's a number, yeah, but it could be a string, special string value, right? Yeah. So you retrieve fields. Yeah, let me check the time. Oh, sorry. 8:11 already. Yeah, let me stop here. Yeah, because I finished explanation of this slide. Yeah, I finished that. All right. So let me stop right here. Yeah. Although I have one more slide, but I do it next time. Yeah, last slide, next time. Then I just upload my case study example. You can study my case. Play around first, then study the tutorial inside. Yeah. All right. So let me finish part D here today, and then we finish module 2. That means we will have our quiz number 2 soon, in a few days. Quiz number 2, yeah, this week. Yeah. All right, so that's it. Yeah.